Welcome to Stage 5 of Tirreno-Adriatico. Likely the hardest stage of the race, we have some pretty serious climbing today. See, the King of the Mountains leader George Hincapie already dropped a long way from the finish. So around 67 kilometers still to ride, and riders very quickly getting shed out the back. So around 24 riders still here at the front. The Paris-Roubaix winner Tiedemann also shed out the back. Still a long ways to go to the finish. And there's your overall situation heading into the stage. It's Julien Alaphilippe of Blackberry. He leads the race by 4 seconds over Evian's Chomin Peruena, 12 seconds ahead of Pedro Delgado of Ceramicas, and 18 seconds ahead of Stan Ockers of Bianchi Campagnolo. So I think one of those four is most likely to win the race overall, with Alaphilippe in the best position. This stage should go a long way to determining the final classification. And I forgot to show the points competition at the end of stage 4, so here's how that shook out. Alaphilippe, the leader, with 33 points. He took it away from Andre Dargod, who's in second, and Chomin Peruena now up to third. So this group of 21, being driven along by Ocasio da Silva of the Zulu Kingdom team, heading on to the next climb on the stage. The riders and the leftovers trying to latch back on. But Zulu, the only other rider they have in this group is Gert-Jan Tunissen, their climber, so Da Silva and the rest of the team must feel confident in Tunissen's ability to get a good result today. If things really start to fall apart, Tunissen could climb a long ways up in the overall classification, perhaps even into the top 10. So still some incentive to ride for Zulu Kingdom. Kelme still have 3 riders in this group. Hamston is starting to struggle at the back. Evian still have 4 riders here, so the leaders in the team competition might even extend that some more today. But one by one they get dropped out the back. This is Richard struggling, and this is a bit of a surprise. Richard in 6th place overall. He's had a great race so far. Would have been a decent pick to win the stage, but he appears to be suffering. He's not on a good day. If he can stay with this group over the top of the climb and on the valley road, then he should have a chance to recover. It seems like he's been detached, so he'll have to chase back on. See him dangling off the back of this group. It's still Da Silva on the front of the peloton. Taking no chances, he wants to get rid of Pascal Richard. The more riders he can get rid of, that's more riders that Gert-Jan Tunissen can leapfrog in the overall classification. So that is the team tactic for Zulu today. And there's Tunissen, the Dutch climber for Zulu. He hasn't done much this season, but a good value choice in the draft for their manager, picking up a climber with some pretty great ability that late on. Andre Dargod, he's wearing the red points jersey again, even though he does not lead that competition. He is still in the peloton, so a great ride by Andre Dargod today. I think Cyril Guimard is still in this group, as well as Jean Kirkin, so La Vie Claire still have their options despite the shortcomings from yesterday's stage. Then Richard seems to be losing ground, gaps out to 40 seconds, with around 42 kilometers to go. Another 20 kilometers or so of this twisting and turning and rolling terrain, and then we get into the final 3 climbs of today with another uphill sprint in the finish. So yesterday's winner, Chomin Peruena, tried to make it 2 in a row. Julien Alaphilippe as well. Very consistent, seems to be always up in the top 3 or so. An opportunity to take control of this race for good. So Rudy Altig has come to the front for Kelme. The gap's opened up to Richard. He's not going to come back. So that's a big loss for Bianchi Campagnolo. They'd hoped to have 2 riders around the top 5 in the GC, but one of those options is gone as Richard has cracked a bad day in the hills and he's been dropped. Stargard still clings to the back. Altig setting an infernal pace on the front. They still have Frank Schleck here, their team leader, who's been quiet but always up there in the race. He was up on the top 10 of yesterday's stage. There's a third rider from Kelme. Not quite sure who that is at this point. Jens Voigt still here to help out Adidas. They have Pantani and Philippe Gilbert still. There's the blue jersey of Julien Alaphilippe. He has no more teammates, so he's all isolated. But it's one of the strongest riders in the race. I think he can take care of himself on a stage like this. Perfectly suited for somebody like him, who's made for these hilly stages. Altig continues to set the pace. So these 17 will reach the finale of the stage together, and then we should see some more devastating attacks. So the third Kelme rider is actually Paolo Savoldelli, who's on a good ride today. He's a stage race specialist and a domestique for the big leaders, such as Bjarne Riis and Frank Schleck. Into the flat road, and we're approaching the final climbs, not too far away. Stan Åker's still here. Still waiting for Åkers to get his big result this season. He's arguably the most talented rider, period, in the peloton based on his all-around ability. Just hasn't managed to cross the finish line first yet. So we'll see if that changes today. And Savoldelli, he's going to take over for Altig and take the peloton onto the climbs. So Savoldelli hits the front first. You can see how steep it is from this motorbike angle. Very tough gradient to try and drag your body over on a bicycle. But these are some of the best riders in the world. Evian putting one of their riders on the front at last. They still have a lot of numbers in this group, and it's Jean-Pierre Donguillon. He's taking up the pacemaking and looking to force a split. It seems some time gaps have opened up. Dargard is dropped. So too has Guimard, so he still doesn't have it. I think Jean Kirkin as well, so all 3 La Viclaire riders, they've been dropped by Jean-Pierre Donguillon, and now Philippe Gilbert looking to take it up for Pantani. Another very steep climb right at the bottom of this descent. Dargard looking to chase his leaders back on. Onto the next hill, and there comes the move at the front. It's Pedro Delgado of Ceramigas. An opportunity for the climber on the steepest gradients to break away. Tunisia is giving chase. So too is Choman Peruena. Alaphilippe in the blue jersey, privy to the moves. But over the top, and still these 10 riders together can't get rid of each other. Donguillon is still here despite the work he's done. He will take up the pace at the front. And the La Viclaire riders a long way back, so they've all been gotten rid of for good. To go downhill one more time and then another uphill sprint to the line. So still 3 riders to work with for Evian to set up Choman Peruena. But we get another attack. It's Pantani looking to go early from the bottom of the climb. Tunisia is on his wheel, and Pedro Delgado as well. So Tunisia is going to take up the pacemaking. He's going to lead from the front. He's got Åkers in the slipstream. Both Evian riders, Matteo and Peruena, there as well. Alaphilippe on the wheel of Gerrit-Jan Tunissen, and Alaphilippe's going to launch his final move to the line. I think that's Peruena in his wheel. It's a 2-up sprint for the line, and Choman Peruena will go back-to-back in Tirreno-Adriatico. Another uphill stage win for the team, and Choman Peruena. A splendid result for Evian, and Choman Peruena, I guess with the time bonuses, assuming he gets the same time on the line as Alaphilippe, will be tied on the same time in the general classification. So based on the count back from previous stages, that will determine the race leader, at least by my calculations. So Alaphilippe had the opportunity to take control of the race today, and instead things have got a bit more complicated because Peruena has won yet again, and a bit of a rivalry starting to develop between those two riders. So those two have stolen a march and everyone else. Philippe Gilbert, 3rd place, another good result for Adidas, who seem to be turning things around. Ocker is in 4th, he's been consistent so far, and Marc Matteo, an impressive 5th place result for the Classics rider. So we'll go ahead and get everyone through to the finish. Eros Poli of the leftovers, the final rider to finish the day. So a long way back for Eros Poli. The final sprint, it was Alaphilippe who winded up first, but he went just a bit too early. He mistimed it. Then the explosive Choman Peruena comes out of his back wheel and powers forward to victory, as Gilbert leads home the rest in 3rd place. So something about Evian and getting back-to-back stage wins in these races, but they've done it again with Choman Peruena. Julien Alaphilippe for BlackBerry is 2nd, Gilbert of Adidas 3rd, Ocker is 4th for Bianchi Campagnolo, Matteo 5th for Evian. So that will cause another shift in the overall classification, although interestingly, the first 9 riders all given the same time, so the time gap still won't be very big, which can make tomorrow's stage a bit more interesting still. A lot of the Eclair riders, they've been wiped out today. They've all lost at least 3 minutes. In the GC, it's Alaphilippe who still leads, and Peruena is now up on the same time as Alaphilippe. So based on countback from the previous 4 stages, it's been determined that Alaphilippe still leads the race, but by bonus seconds, they've extended over everyone else. Pedro Delgado now 18 seconds back in 3rd. Ocker is 4th at 24 seconds behind, and Pantani now 40 seconds back in 5th. Pascal Richard lost more than 9 minutes today. He drops all the way down to 16th from 6th. Tunissen up to the top 10 as well. In the points jersey, Peruena closing the gap to Alaphilippe, but Alaphilippe still leads that. Dargad in 3rd, and Guimard in 4th still. So Alaphilippe looks good to win that. Hincapie once again extending in the King of the Mountains competition, getting in so many breakaways. I think he'll end up winning that as well. And Evian getting a huge lead in the team classification. They had Matteo and Peruena up in the front, and Don Guillaume was right up there as well.